Today, we're flying on the smallest, newest, and one of, if not the most bizarre airlines in Asia. Air Japan is a member of the ANA group and has only started operations in February of last year. That's 2024. Their fleet is also made up of only 2 Boeing 787-8 Dreamliners, with a third and fourth one due later this year and into next. They're also a low-cost carrier, meaning that all non-essential items such as seat selection, carry-ons, or snacks aren't included in the upfront base fare displayed and are to be added on manually when booking, such as premium meals such as the sushi box. We'll get into that later. So, what's it like on board an Asian low-cost carrier? Are they even any good since they're so new and their fleet is so small? Are they even legit? What's going on, guys? Casey Flower here. Join me as we see what the Asian low-cost startup is like on one of the most busiest routes in Asia, from here in Tokyo Narita, where we left off last time, over to Seoul Incheon. But first things first, I only had a 13-hour overnight here, so let's go make the most of it out of the hotel breakfast buffet downstairs. Hey look, there's a bear. You were just on them. Alright, breakfast of champions here with a pretty sick view. So exhibit A, rice, exhibit B, fried chicken, and exhibit C, tuna fish. In all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet, all for the price of just about 2,200 yen. Pretty soon after my not very Japanese breakfast, it was time to hit the road to Narita. Are you from here, or? Okay, cool, yeah. Where are you heading off to?
Hanoi, Vietnam. So we're usually heading to Hanoi, and then our friends already arrived in Hanoi. And
Okay.
Another family is going to Hanoi, so we'll be 3 family groups.
Okay, cool. So like a kind of a reunited family.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I love that for you guys. Okay, don't get me wrong. I do feel kind of bad about coming to a foreign country and not being at least familiar with the people's language, but that's the extra cost of coming to a foreign country to try weird airlines. Good morning. Can I check in for interim, please? Check in for Air Japan 21 to Seoul.
Yes.
Can I check in and boarding pass?
Yes.
Here? Okay, thank you. Okay.
Can I have your passport?
Yeah.
Thank you for your waiting. Today's boarding time is 9:10 and the gate is 58B. The gate is 5. Please go to there earlier. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Have a good one. After check-in at the kiosk, the boarding pass is then emailed to you digitally, but I'll still use the paper one. Alright, I am not quite at the boarding area. I'm actually just at the one next to it. You can actually see the 2 Air Japan towers right behind me, but I'm at this one just for the sake of filming, and it's just quieter here. But getting through TSA and pre-immigration wasn't too bad. About 20-30 minutes, all in all. Moved pretty quickly. They had the same carry-on policy as Zip Air did last time. Basically, they don't do the carry-ons or personal items based on size. They do it based on weight. So basically, it can't be over 7 kilos. So I put my backpack on the scale. That's the free carry-on that I can bring on. It just can't be over 7 kilograms. But on the scale, they were a little more lenient than they were with Zip. I put it on and it came out to be like 7.1 or 7.2 kilos. And they're like, yeah, you're fine, you can go. So they were able to give me the tag of approval here that I totally didn't just rip off. Okay. Deal with that later. But there we go. Gonna board here in about 30 minutes. There is a Japan souvenir shop that's just around the corner that I gotta take a look at and get some stuff at, because I have a whole shopping list of like friends and family that I have to get stuff for that want souvenirs from Japan. So wish me luck as I go in there and try to fit what I get into my one single carry-on. Alright, side quest accomplished. Wouldn't it be funny if that didn't fit in my backpack and I ended up paying a fortune to check this? No, it wouldn't. But hey, we got it. I got to the gate, and the gate agent was gladly able to put another band on to approve my bag. Juliet Alpha 803 Alpha will be the 12-year-old Dreamliner over to Incheon this morning, and she was delivered brand new to ANA in August of 2012, then to Air Japan in February of 2024. There's the entire fleet of Air Japan all in the same shot. Juliet Alpha 801 Alpha and Juliet Alpha 803 Alpha. We're on 803 back there to Seoul. And before long, it was go time. Yeah. Have a good one. How are you doing? Hello. How are you? Okay, thank you. In true low-cost carrier fashion, both their 787s are in an all-economy configuration. My seat for the next 3 hours, 5K, has a pitch of 31, a width of 17, and a recline of 3. Alright, welcome aboard the Air Japan Boeing 787-8 over to Seoul. So far the seat looks really promising. We have in-seat power, so USB A and C. We have a device holder, so there is in-flight entertainment, as there's no IFE. So it is bring your own device, so there is a Wi-Fi network that you can connect to. But I'm not quite sure if that's an actual internet that's to be connected to, or just an entertainment browser for the bring your own device in-flight entertainment. But there is that, which we'll take a look at once we get airborne, and what that is and how well that works. There's also the in-flight menu, so you can see what snacks, food, and meals you can get. There are also meals that you can pre-order on the website when you book, and you can add on to your itinerary that you can pre-order. But just due to availability, those go down pretty quick before departure. But yeah, I was able to get mine, and we'll check that out once we get airborne. But the boarding door is shut. They're getting ready for departure, and we'll be pushing out of here very shortly. Alright, we are airborne out of Narita and on our way over to Incheon. We have an absolutely beautiful day of flying out there today. Honestly, that's gonna be my primary form of entertainment, just looking outside at the scenery of Japan and South Korea. Even though we do have the Wi-Fi, which I did get up and running, so I just went into my settings, tapped on the Air Japan Wi-Fi, and that just redirected me to the portal. part of it is not even a flight tracker, but it's just a little window with our ETA and a progress bar. Then scroll down and you have an actual Wi-Fi network that's internet. So go in there, and in low budget airline fashion, it is payware, so it's not complimentary. You do have to pay for it, but we do have different options that we can get, either a 30-minute pass, whole flight pass, whatever, various options that you can get for whatever you want, and you can see the prices for it there too. But yeah, it is there. I'm not going to bother. Like I said, I'm sure it's there. I'm sure it's reliable. Probably the standard hit or miss airline Wi-Fi. But yeah, I'm just going to look outside and enjoy the scenery, and that's going to be my primary form of entertainment. Also, I did get the in-flight meal that they were offering that you could pre-order when you book, and I got the sushi box. Yeah. So we got different types of rolls and nigiri there in a true Japanese fashion. Looks pretty good. But yeah, we'll try it here in a bit and you'll get my first impressions. So that just came with a thing of mineral water laying down next to it. And then they came through with a cart of drinks. And at least the soft drinks were complimentary. So they handed me a little laminated sheet to show me my options as like a menu for drinks that were complimentary. So yeah, I got myself a Pepsi with that service. And that's what I got. So for now, we're just going to try that sushi and see how it is and look outside. Alright, got the salmon nigiri here. First time eating sushi on a plane, so let's see how it is. I'm not gonna say it tastes like gas station sushi, but because it's not. But it's not like sushi restaurant sushi either, prepared by, you know, a sushi chef or whatever. It's not like quality sushi restaurant sushi either. It's like grab and go sushi. Yeah, okay. They didn't give me chopsticks either, kinda, hence why I'm eating with my hands, but whatever. Yeah, no. Honestly, I think grab and go sushi would be the best way to put it. But yeah, I'm not gonna complain eating sushi on a plane. As I mentioned before, this is something that you have to order pre-flight as the availability is limited and we're run out. But yeah, this is how much it was. But I'd say it was okay. It was worth it. In low-cost airline, no-frills fashion, having a meal that you'd have to pay for. Not even low-cost. On like a full-service airline, they'll probably still give you a meal. On like a domestic flight, it's pretty standard to have a full-on meal that you would have to pay for. But yeah, I'm not going to complain about what I got. There are other options too that you can add on, which I'll scroll through there and see what they got. But yeah, I picked the sushi, and that is what we got. We are beginning our descent down into Incheon. We also just quickly came through with a survey on Air Japan, but I'm not going to do that for obvious reasons. I'm making a whole flight review video on it right now, so I'm not going to worry about that. But something I do need to worry about is looking through the menu with you guys and see what the airline has to offer there for buy on board drinks and snacks. So pull it on the tray table and get our menu here on that. Pretty much everything is buy on board. All the snacks at least are buy on board. All those are in yen. So yeah, hot meals like ramen, soup, sweets and snacks. A little bit of a kids section right there, all for 600 yen. And yeah, here are the meals that they gave out on top of, I believe, the sushi box, or at least some of them there. 4,000 and 1,500 yen. Snack set. If you want a little extra, you can get that. More snacks here. Pause the video if you need to, if you want to take a look. Alcohol you can get for 5 and 600 yen, as well as some Japanese wine that they have available for you. But yeah, they have all of these in here on top of the sushi box and the other premium meals that they offer on the website. But a few things that are not available on this route from Narita to Seoul, as that suggests right there. F1 to F4 and F3 through F22. So yeah, so those 4 things are actually not available on the specific route, flight 21. So you're not going to get those. Those aren't going to be available either in the itinerary or when you book, so you can't get those. So those aren't available. And then F23 and F24. So that won't be available except Seoul route. Yeah, okay, there you go. So those aren't available. And F24, which is that, also is not available. So yeah, those 4 meals and those 2 kids meals aren't available on the specific flight. But yeah, everything you see up here is buy on board as the low cost, no frills, fare structure suggests, and it is available in the cart when it comes by that you can get. And with that taken care of, we are on our final descent into Incheon. I'll use the rest of the time on the way in to rate and review this flight using my channel original rating system. If you're new here, I used it to rate and review all of my flights at the end of every one of my airline reviews to see how the airline did overall. I named this the Raleigh rating scale because my first name is Raleigh. I used 6 different categories to see how well this specific airline did at each. So, on the rest of the way in, let's go see how Air Japan did today. The service was a 10 out of 10. Everyone was very cheerful, friendly, and welcoming. They were efficient with getting orders and working together with the snack and drink run, and made clear what drinks were complimentary. My seatmate in the aisle also asked for a second complimentary drink, and they gave that one to him for free as well. The Wi-Fi guide also said something about an onboard shopping section of the portal being available too, but I couldn't find it, and I don't think that was available, so don't count on it being available. The cleanliness was a 10 out of 10. It looked great for a 12-year-old Dreamliner, very well maintained, and still felt brand new. The Wi-Fi was a 7 out of 10. All that was available for this flight was internet that was buy on board, with various options. This is standard with most legacy carriers anyway, so I can't really complain as this was a low-cost carrier. I'm not sure how reliable it was, as I was too cheap to pay for it, but I think it's safe to say that it's standard airplane quality Wi-Fi that gives you the ability to text, refresh social media, or upload and download photos, but would just be a gamble if you wanted to stream anything. It did say up front that large volume communications such as streaming video viewing are not available, meaning either you can't stream video at all or you just can't run FaceTime, but that's pretty common knowledge. I saw other people stream though, so I wouldn't overthink it more than I already am. The food was a 7 out of 10. It was cold sushi. It would be grocery store grab and go quality sushi at its worst. But you won't catch me complaining about an airline that offers sushi as one of their meals. It would have been nice to get chopsticks with it just to be less messy, but maybe that's a good thing as my chopstick skills are pretty embarrassing and nobody needs to see that. There were plenty of onboard options available on the menu, even though some were not available on this specific flight, plus the handful of premium meals like my sushi box that can be added on pre-flight for a fee. The entertainment was a 7 out of 10. The only thing that the airline provided was the internet for a fee. There is the possibility of the ability to stream video and the likelihood of texting and scrolling through social media. The Wi-Fi guide also said something about free entertainment too, but that was nowhere to be seen as the only option on the portal or the Wi-Fi plans. So, if you don't want to pay for the Wi-Fi, then your best bet would just be downloading content pre-flight. The seat was a 10 out of 10. The legroom of 31 inches of pitch was standard for most economy seats and even some premium economy seats. The seat back in front of me was borderline identical to an economy seat of an American Airlines 737. In-seat power, thick and comfortable cushioning, and the device holder to accommodate the bring your own device in-flight entertainment when connected to the internet. It also had the same overhead light and flight attendant call buttons on the seat back too as like Zip did, so that was convenient. So the overall Raleigh rating for this flight is going to be an 8.5 out of 10. Alright, welcome to Seoul Incheon. Just got through the transfer process from that Air Japan flight so we can get on our next airline. The transfer process here wasn't really that bad since I was the only one actually transferring and not leaving the airport and actually entering the country. I was the only one in that queue. It wasn't too bad. All it was just a TSA queue that I just put my items in and just put it through the machine. And then I went through, got screened, my items got screened. They just wanted to see my passport and proof that I was actually transferring. So I just showed them my itinerary for my next airline. But my final thoughts on Air Japan today, it was nice. I was actually really impressed. The seat was nice. The food was really good. The service was amazing. The Wi-Fi, I'm sure it works fine. I just didn't bother connecting to it or paying for it. But yeah, I see huge potential in that airline. They have another 2 or 3 aircrafts on order. So that's going to be really good for them to hopefully do some expansion and add some new destinations. Because as of now, they have Incheon, Bangkok, and I believe Singapore. Don't quote me on that, but Singapore. From Tokyo Narita. But yeah, seeing Australia would be cool. Even the US. The US might be a bit of a stretch. But LAX or SFO might be a bit of a stretch from Narita and kind of compete with Zip there. But I don't think that's their thing. They want to do that quite yet. But yeah, I think they could. I see huge potential in them. They really impressed me today. But that's going to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed my review on Air Japan. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next airline. Bye for now.